レコードをかけるわ。どんな曲がお好き？どうぞ、お好きな曲をおっしゃって。
What kind of music do you listen to? As someone who loves music and thinks about it constantly, I find myself asking new people that I meet this question quite regularly. I also find this question bounced at myself quite often, like I think most people do. When perceived, the inquiry seems simple enough. One might respond with, "Oh, I like rock," or "I listen to mostly electronic music." Many will respond with, "Yeah, I listen to everything." However, I find myself tripping over my words, stuttering, or drawing a blank more often than not when I'm asked to respond to this question. Although I'm not really sure why my mind goes adrift when I'm asked this, I know that I'm not alone. It really seems like this is a question that, for some reason, everyone has trouble responding to, but nobody really tries to figure out why that is. I think something that plays a key role is the way that the question is asked, and obviously that's situational. There is a vast difference from someone who is a complete music purist asking the question to point out how they are just more musically educated than you, and someone asking the question because they genuinely are curious about your tastes and what you love. The intentions can completely influence one's response. If I know that when I say I like metal, someone's going to interrogate me about my favorite experimental, underground, symphonic metal artist and my 5 favorite industrial metal albums, I think I'd be slightly intimidated and probably more motivated to answer the question dishonestly. I think that's a shame. No one should feel like they have to answer or cater their responses to fit what they want someone else to think about them or their music taste. However, if you were to direct the question with different intentions, I'm sure the responses would change. When asking someone this question, the outcomes truly can be very fun, organic, or beautiful. It just depends if you want them to be. They can also start great conversations and even lifelong friendships. For example, if I was a Drake fanatic and someone asked me and they said, "What do you listen to?" and I said, "Oh, I love hip hop and lately I've been listening to a ton of Drake," there's this beautiful moment of relatability created. It's like, oh, this person and I have something in common. Personally, I think sharing music is one of the most beautiful parts of music. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I love discussing music. But when the question, "What kind of music do you like?" is used as bait to embarrass someone based on their music taste or their lack of understanding of their own music taste, it really makes me sad, because of the potential for good that this question truly has. In the past, when I've been asked to answer this question, I found myself falling into the charity answer of, "Oh, I listen to a little bit of everything." But lately, the more and more thought I've given it, the more and more I realize that my answer really isn't true, and I think that answer would not be really true for anybody. Sure, I've explored countless genres, and if you really stretch, I guess you could say that I've tried everything, or most things, but the notion that I listen to a little bit of everything is absurd. I don't. I grew up on rock and its popular subgenres, and now I listen to a lot of hip-hop and its consequent subgenres, as well as still listening to rock. I also listen to a decent amount of pop music, and I listen to a little bit of many other genres, but to say that I listen to everything is just not true. Do I indulge in glitch hop and folktronica and vaporwave on an everyday basis? No, I don't. In terms of asking the question, I think there are a few related questions that you can ask most people that will probably end up giving you more productive answers. The more I've thought about this topic, the more I've inched away from asking people the traditional, "What kind of music do you like?" and I have instead started to ask people, "What kind of music have you been listening to lately?" Timeliness is key here. It seems to me that when I do this, I get that moment of relatability much more often than when I ask the original question. Maybe this is just because I listen to a lot of new music that I end up reviewing, but in general, I just find this version of the question a lot more productive. I think another huge reason as to why most people draw blanks when asked this question is because obviously what you're listening to depends on your mood. If I'm super sad, I'm not going to slap "Happy" by Pharrell Williams, and if I'm super happy, I'm not going to throw on Simon and Garfunkel's "The Sound of Silence." So another more productive way you can phrase the question is, what do you listen to when you're sad, or what do you listen to when you're happy, or even something like, what do you listen to when you study, or what do you listen to while you work out? It's all about narrowing down the question so the other party doesn't feel intimidated and you get more productive answers. And honestly, probably more positive conversations too. When you use specific and discrete questions like these to relate and share your love of music with someone, I promise you won't want to stop doing so. But if someone answers the question with, I listen to everything but country, don't scoff at them, don't doubt them. Instead, try your hardest to narrow down a speaking point about a song, artist, or genre that you both love. If you can't do that, find one that you know, but the other person doesn't. Explain to them why you love that artist and introduce them to their music. Who knows? You could just change their life.